Okay, so, but the Happy New Year stand, and I hope that a lot of people had a horrible year. 2012 was a horrible year for a lot of people, so I hope that everybody will, that richly deserves it, and will have a really good year this year. And we can always hope, and let's hope that things are gonna get better. And I don't know, so far it seems like nothing has changed yet, but we can hope. Anyway, so we're back here, and again we have Barbara here because the soap opera continues. Story of our lives.
Yeah, the soap opera.
Yeah, it's just... Should we call it psyop opera?
Psyop.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Psy opera.
Okay. As you know, last Saturday, among the things we discussed with Barbara here, we were exposing a certain individual by the name of Doctor as a psychiatrist, Rima
Lebo.
Whatever, okay? You name it. You pronounce it the way you like. I think she says Lebo or Lebo. I don't.
She says Lebo. I heard it today on that idiot video. The second.
Yeah, how could it be Lebo, though? I mean, anyway, whatever. But, and you know, last time she was using an older picture, but today, the ones of last. See, the problem is that we had the show, I suppose what she was saying. She was saying, I am the doctor of Adam Lanza. And then she goes on his own. I treated Adam Lanza. I held him. I hugged him. I cried with the mother. I don't know. All these sorts of things. And then at the end of the video, in the small writing, there is a disclaimer saying that she isn't really... But the doctor, she never said it. It's a little writing of disclaimer. Okay? Well, somebody must have told her what we said in the show. And I even said, she probably is using this as a symbol. I am the doctor because I treated a lot of cases that could potentially have been Adam Lanza. So therefore, I am his doctor. But I mean, she didn't say that. She didn't give any indication that the information was a metaphor, quote. Okay? She didn't give any indication. And I said, well, it's possible that's what she's doing. And then you, Barbara, said, she's a liar. And I must say, maybe my view, I thought you might have been jumping the gun a bit, but you're right. She's a liar because the day after the radio show, she put up a video. And
Why the day after your last show?
Immediately after. You know, and the show is in the afternoon, and then the next day hers is up. That's ridiculous. That really is a smoking gun. That's what it is.
Well, it is, Dr. Carpenter, because we are public enemy number one to these people. We can't forget that.
But my thought is, if she is so well connected, she's a government, whatever, why would she listen to my show? Okay? So maybe she was warned by somebody else. Maybe somebody that was planning to have her on his show as a guest. I don't know. She must have been warned by somebody. So she immediately comes up with this video and she blasts the people that have criticized her, meaning you and I. She blasts them as psyop. Basically, she accuses us of being what she is.
Exactly, but she also deemed our exposure, if in fact she was referring to us, because she certainly has been exposed by other people. She said savage attacks on her and her husband. Well,
do you know any savage attack in recent time by other people?
but I think a person who is trying to use voodoo science, psychic warfare to try to stop the hearts of an innocent animal that never did anyone any harm, That's a savage attack for you.
Well, it would be even worse if they tried, and they might have tried to do it on human.
They have. Oh, they've done it.
Yeah, so that's savage attack. But anyway, but see, that's the same thing with the trolls that were attacking us. They always accused us of what they do. That's the typical behavior.
But that's the protocol. You see, for these people who are actually engaged in the PSYOP, they will accuse you of everything they are, everything they do. That is their methodology, and those are the tactics of counterintelligence.
That's why Dr. Carpenter is a COINTELPRO shill. Right? See how it works?
Okay, but what you're saying is, okay, does that mean that my ex Barracuda is also, because that's what his method, is also counterintelligence?
Well, remember this, Dr. Carpenter. the COINTELPRO,
they hire from within the circle.
From within you're exactly right, Randy. They hire from, and recruit is a better word. They recruit from within the circle of the family, friends, and also enemies of the target. So therefore, if somebody has information, personal, private information about you, the target, they will approach that person in order to try to extract whatever damaging information, or they'll spin it, or they will fabricate damaging information if there's nothing, no skeleton in the closet.
In mine there isn't, but in his there are plenty. So
that's the way it always is.
But see, what happened is he actually posted with the blogs of the trolls. He posted that I embezzled money from the company, which actually is what he did. That's why he was thrown out of the board. He did that, and he was thrown out of the board. I caught him, and everybody, major stockholder, threw him out. In agreement, threw him out. You see, and then he turned around. He was posting on the web that was a criminal, and I had, I had stolen money from the company, all sorts of ridiculous accusations. And that could be the reason why FDA stole my records, thinking that maybe they could find some evidence of fraud.
Yeah. Well, they're digging for dirt. And I know
there isn't any.
Yeah, and there isn't any. And I know in my own case, I don't have any skeletons. I'm right up front.
I don't like the look of skeleton. I don't keep him in the car. No. But you see, these people, you have to remember that these people who can be recruited, okay, they're dirty. If they were not dirty, they could not recruit them. They have no honor. They have no integrity. They have no light, and they have no truth loyalty
in them. Nothing.
Yeah. It's just disgusting. But about going back to the video that showed up on YouTube on Sunday, she is openly lying in that video. She's saying that she has been, what do you say, viciously? Do we have a noise?
Savagely
attacked.
Yeah. Okay. She says that, and she says that she claims that she pointed out in that video 3 times that she wasn't really Adam Lanza's doctor. She said, lying through her face, because I went through that video. She said,
yes.
She mentioned that at the beginning. No, she didn't.
And did you notice, Dr. Carpenter, how she looks to me like a frog? Like her eyes bug out when she's making one of these proclamations.
Actually, she looks like somebody punched her in the face because her nose is so sore.
Okay.
So maybe somebody got really mad at her and punched her, and that's why her eyes are bugging out. Her nose is so sore.
Her eyes are bugging.
We should be in a break. Or
that's what I thought.
Or on the way to a break.
I don't hear anything.
I hear some fear.
Okay.
You hear some...
No pain.
Oh. Do you?
Well,
yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fill out these forms.
Well, but we have to do guesswork to get to. That's ridiculous.
But I hear it. Last week it was kind of iffy.
I can help you.
And we trust you.
Yeah, right. Okay. Especially this Rima psychiatrist, right?
Hey, by the way, let me say hi to everybody listening on OrionTalkRadio.com and Micro 1650 in Tonawanda, New York, and everybody listening on Spreaker.com. We appreciate your listening. And Shoutcast. Haven't had a chance to look at the numbers, so I don't know how many people we have listening right now. But
it's hard to tell anyway. But there might be a Rima out there listening.
I think we get more archive listeners than we do live listeners, really.
Right.
You know what she reminds me of? I said a frog, but it's more
a frog.
Bug face. In fact, I used to tell my grandson a little line. I would say, "Get off my case, bug face." Okay?
Okay.
And then my daughter-in-law, "Oh, that's not nice. That's not politically correct." So what? Get off my case, bug face.
Her special.
Well, see, I grew up in the 70s, and when, the show Welcome Back, Kotter was on, and one of John Travolta's little catchphrases, it was, "Off my face, toilet face."
I remember.
Oh, no, off my case, toilet face. And I'm really
I don't
with it
remember
today,
that. I don't remember that at all. I remember, I was watching Welcome Back, Kotter, but I don't remember that phrase. Don't remember.
I do. I remembered it.
You do?
Yeah.
That was the picture at the beginning. Yeah.
Mutton thrown beeswax, busybody.
Yeah.
One of my favorite phrases.
Yeah. Well, that I like. The beginning of the show was showing a picture of Brooklyn High, which at the time of the show had already been closed. The building was there, but it was closed.
I actually got to drive by there. I was at the Naval Academy and spent a weekend at a friend's house that lived up there in Bay Ridge area. And, he drove me all around the neighborhood and said, "You see that? See that? Does it look familiar? Does it look familiar?" And I looked at him. And he looked at me and smiled. And I said, yeah. He says, "Yep, Welcome Back, Kotter." That's it right there.
That's Brooklyn High, but it was already closed.
But the building was still there, though.
Right, it was still there. And it was near the Brooklyn Poly, by the way. So, anyway, that's reminiscence of a former life. But anyway, so this woman, bug face or not, she's still bugging us because she lies. And she said, I said at the beginning, I repeated it in the middle, and then at the end. All she said, beginning, middle, through it, and in the end, she said, "I am Adam Lanza, doctor." She didn't say, this is just...
Not only that, Dr. Carpenter, but she repeated that same phrase with real aggression in her second so-called rebuttal.
Yeah, but she was saying it was no... People are stupid that didn't understand that is symbolism, okay?
But then kept pushing. And one of her comments, which I found to be very telling, is she's talking to the audience, okay? With this new age music in the background, running in the background, okay? Yeah. She's saying to the audience, "You are Adam Lanza's neighbor, mother, father, sister, brother. This is the New World Order. It takes a village," like Hillary Clinton. "It takes a village to raise a child." No, it doesn't. It takes independent parents who have a private concern with the welfare of their child, not a village. And this is the same attitude, this New World Order, New Age. It takes a village. No, it doesn't.
That's just a stupid phrase anyway.
Yes, it is.
It's nothing to it. But the thing is that she does a video. She says some things that are correct, and she attracts the attention of people that way, so they will follow. It's just the typical behavior of trolls. Then they will follow whatever else she says because she said a few right things. But unfortunately, for anybody that has seen the first video, they can easily realize that she lied because she didn't show any denial of the phrase, "I am Adam Lanza's doctor." There was only at the first video, at the very end, a little writing
Yeah, the
Like
little
it's
disclaimer.
a very tiny writing disclaimer, but she never worded that. She never said it. She just was trying to write them, getting attention from that phrase. And she even said, I got him off medication, and then I had to get him back on medication because of the pressure of the industry. So it's all a farce. And then in the second video, she said she never had anybody on drugs. So where is the truth here?
This is called misdirection, Dr. Carpenter, and it's one of the tactics of these psyops. And she has the nerve to accuse us or others like us who
be psyop,
who are exposing truth, unadulterated truth. She has the nerve to accuse a person like you or me of we are running a psyop or a savage attack. No, it's you, Rima Labo.
Oh, whatever you want to say, however you want to pronounce your name. That's just open to choices here. Rima. What a name. There is a church in town. It's spelled differently, but it's also...
It means poem in Spanish. It probably means something similar in Italian. I don't know.
No, it means rhyme, not poem. It's a rhyme.
Well, in Spanish, it's kind of interchangeable.
Okay, in
like
Italian...
the rhyme of the ancient mariner. It's not a rhyme. A rhyme is two words that have similar sound, but it depends on how it's used. It went from rhyme to poem.
Yeah, that could be just a poetical, modification. But in Italian, rhyme is rima is a rhyme. Okay, that's the word. A poem is poema is just similar to English, so that's not. So I don't know. But anyway, what about the Rima church is spelled differently?
That's Rhema. That's Rhema.
Yeah, well,
that's a Greek word, R-H-E-M-A. It's a biblical term. Pastors use it a lot because apparently in Greek there are like 7 or 8 different words that mean word, and Rhema is one type of word, and there's. Oh, I'm not even going to get into it. There's.
I'm going to have to break out my Greek dictionary and see. By the way, it's a dictionary of classical Greek, so it's not with Western letters. It's the original Greek letters.
Right, and I think the RH signifies the letter rho.
Oh.
Because, and I don't know if
RH signifies rho? Oh, jeez.
Well, because the Greek letter rho.
Hey, if you study plenty of math, you know all of those, okay? Because they are used in math. So I know that, but I didn't know that in English they translated with RH. Anyway, that's beside the point.
RH positive.
Oh, no. All right. But we're going back to what we were saying. I really hate these people that take the public for idiots because there is a record of what she said in that first video, and now she comes back with the second, and then I didn't say that. I said this. Well, like people don't remember or they cannot go back and see the video again?
Well, it's called damage control.
Yeah, it is very pathetic, though, because it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
And that's ridiculous. And if you are trying to do damage control and you come in and lie, you're not controlling anything. You're making it worse.
Trying to justify the unjustifiable because you don't come forward and say, I am Adam Lanza's doctor, and then go through this whole rigmarole where she's trying to draw people in to her controlled opposition, psyop, and that's precisely what it is.
And I think we're about to hit. There it is.
Wow.
Actually,
this time was on time.
Hit it this time, yeah.
Yeah. How about that? Okay. That's funny.
Real alternative radio. We are OrionTalkRadio.com.
This morning, remember?
That was a reminder.
The medical conspiracy.
That we need to do that, yeah. We were going to do it this morning, remember?
Gotta change the promo.
We're trying anyway. Okay, so do you wanna?
Oh yeah, I'm so ignorant in the dark most of the time, especially in the last month or so, working a new job and everything. Person on the chat board is telling us that the Medical Conspiracy runs live every Saturday on TalkSuperstation.com. I did not know that.
I don't know that. Yeah.
TalkSuperstation.com.
We need to verify that if it's the case. I don't know.
I don't have I don't have time to check it out right now.
Yeah, well, we'll do it later after the show, and then next Saturday we can discuss it. And we just had the wrong ad. Our show is moved up 2 hours. It's not at 5. It's at 3 Eastern time.
And we've been meeting for a couple of weeks to redo that little promo, and we just haven't done it yet.
I don't know why. We just have not. We keep forgetting. Oh gosh, we don't have any problems, nothing to worry about. So we should have been able to do it with no problem, right?
Should.
Yeah.
All we got to do is cut it and send it, and Jimmy.
Yeah,
will fix it
I'm just saying because of all the. Anyway, is Barbara there or?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right. So we're back, and. We were talking about the Psy frog.
Psyop frog, yeah.
Psyop frog.
Psyopera.
Yeah, and the frog in it. It's a frog opera.
Don't have a frog sound effect for you there. Mm.
No, we don't.
Maybe
Not
she
yet.
was turned into a frog by in one of her husbands.
Oh yeah, well, you know what they say that I'm a witch or I can.
You put spiritual bondage on people.
Oh, okay. So I can turn them into frogs?
But, ironically, that's precisely what they're trying to do. They are mounting demonic attacks on people. These are spiritual attacks. When you're using energy, directed energy of your mind, that is a spiritual attack. It's demonic. And that's precisely what her husband, Stubblebine, is trying to do, to attack and destroy animals and human beings. So maybe he turned her into a frog.
Well, I don't know what he did. Oh, I don't know. But see, that's why they were saying that about me.
Oh, yeah. Because you
That's
get these phony baloney so-called Christians like Michelle Wolven who would call you a demon. Okay? Or you're possessed by demons. But in fact, the opposite is always true. Because people like this, people that are so filled with hate and destruction, those people are demonic.
They might not even have any personal feeling. They're just paid to do certain things.
Exactly.
And have no feeling whatsoever of any kind. Otherwise,
a lot of them are just following a school of thought, and they have no idea where this school of thought actually originated.
Okay,
Well, they are. And the
but
thing
when
is,
yeah, go ahead.
it's called religious indoctrination. The way I look at it is, I don't think of religion. I think of God, and I think of Jesus Christ. And that's what's in my heart, not the indoctrination of a religion. So these people, they belong to these big churches, mega churches, and they're out there, trying to stop patients coming into a clinic or like an abortion clinic. Well, you know what?
Or our clinic.
And that reminds me, there's an article I saw this week about the CEO of Hobby Lobby, and they're making a big deal about this now because they refuse to pay for, they refuse to offer coverage that could result in medications that could potentially cause abortions, and that's against their Christian principles. Well, I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I said, well, I sincerely hope these Christian principles also preclude you from covering people with programs that will offer them deadly chemotherapy drugs should they be diagnosed with cancer.
Well, that's right. That's right. And you know what? I mean, these people are completely, in my opinion, They are delusional. They're following dogma. They're not following any kind of real, genuine Christian faith. There's a big difference between dogmatic ideas that are forced on the populace and the congregation of the church. Okay, like Operation Rescue. No, I don't know if Michelle Walvin was involved in Operation Rescue.
I think she was.
Eric Rudolph.
In fact, I know for a fact she was, because she's actually got an article on their website.
Yeah, Eric Rudolph. There's a guy for you.
Who's he?
Eric Rudolph. He's the one that evaded capture. I don't know if they finally got him. I think they did. But he was bombing abortion clinics.
Oh.
Okay, that's not an answer to anything. To do violence like that. To
shoot the guy point blank in the middle of a church service. It's a good one.
No,
well, I had years ago, I had a patient that had a very advanced case of neck cancer. It was a squamous cell carcinoma, but which is a type of skin cancer, but was on the neck. By the time it came to me, it was a mess. It was outside the skin. It was horrible looking. It was a mess. But he was Irish. And actually, my daughter said he looked like a little leprechaun. He was a really nice guy. And he was such a Catholic that you wouldn't believe. And he was set to bring me back, in his opinion, bring me back because I was born and raised in Catholic country. That doesn't mean that I ever follow organized religion, but because my father didn't. But in his opinion, I was Catholic that had strayed, and he was going to bring me back, okay? Was really a nice guy, but he was leaving me no quarters, in his opinion. Anyway, and on me about Catholic religion, he's actually had in his pocket a rosary at all time. And I know that because while I was treating him, that he was laying down and his rosary was falling off the pocket. Okay? So he was really super Catholic. And one thing he said, that people that go and do demonstration outside abortion clinic, bomb abortion clinics and all of that, they cannot call themselves Christian. They cannot.
That is not Christian behavior.
That's what he said, and this was a super Catholic that said that, okay?
Yeah.
He said, it doesn't matter what the issue was, that behavior is not a behavior of a Christian.
No, it isn't, because true Christians do not attack people. They do not bomb any place.
They do not use violence to try to convince people
of something. They're not aggressors in of violence. No, they are not.
Not saying
behave that way.
And they cannot also defame somebody, like the Catholic Walvin was doing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That's one of the commandments. Thou shalt not bear false witness. And these people do that. They are false witnesses, false accusers. They are complete hypocrites. These are not Christians.
They knew that the person they attacked me of killing, they knew that she had a second cancer. And it was never mentioned till we show evidence that she had a second cancer. They never mentioned the word thyroid cancer till we showed evidence. And then they first ignored it, and then they denied it. And then they said, oh, yes, she had it, and it was also treated by us. And it wasn't. So, you see, changed the story 4 times.
Well, again, it's false witness.
It is.
And that's what all of these shills and controlled opposition and liars they do. They bear false witness when they know that the facts do not substantiate the law.
And the same is with that Chris Cuomo character, okay? Bob, okay? He's, by the way, his lies posted on Bill Anderson are still coming up on the searches for our company name.
Well, sure. There's
that was years ago.
Things have been done to ensure that. I mean,
right, and it keeps coming up, and the whole thing is a lie because one of the things he said was, my wife was at a treatable cancer was at a treatable stage. Oh, you got a break. Okay, we'll continue after the break. I heard it this time. It was possible to hear. That was good.
Well, I'm not complaining.
Something happened, so it's good. I could hear that really clearly. Amazing.
Volume level went up because that particular piece has got a pretty low volume on it.
Okay, so something went on. Oh, good. I hope keep it up because we sure need it. Okay. So before the break, what I was saying is the issue of false witness and people posting things that are lies. And the one that keeps coming back in the searches is what I call Crucuolo. His name is Chris Cuolo, but he's a crook, so Crucuolo.
And like you, just to clarify, new listeners or whatever, she's talking about the searches on Google, Yahoo search, Bing, whatever, when you search the name Antonella Carpenter. Or Les Med Inc. Right, or Les Med Inc. Either one.
Yeah. And that comes up. And now he's saying, and this is on Bill Anderson website, who is another government-controlled counter.
Colonel Bill Henderson.
Well, or like they said on Hogan Zero, Colonel.
Oui, Colonel.
Yeah. So, you know.
Oui.
And actually, there is no reason to read that word as Colonel. Well, there is no
I never have understood that.
It doesn't come even close. The way it is, it should be read like the French guy was reading it, the Colonel. And that's how I was reading it when I first came in the U.S. And, of course, I was terribly criticized and ridiculed for it. But anyway, so I'm still attached to the word Colonel. But anyway, let's go back. So on Colonel Henderson chat board that he controls, and we have been booted out, wiped out like we never existed several times. This Crucuolo character posted something about his wife being at a treatable stage when she came to see me, and then she went for treatment. It was not chemo, but she collapsed during the treatment. I don't know of any other treatment that makes you collapse except chemo. But aside from that, he must have known, as stupid as this individual might be, he must have known that his wife's condition was not treatable by standard treatment when she came to see me because she had gone through alternative quackery that pushed the tumor out of the skin. Her tumor was out of the skin, and you know when it's exposed to air, it grows like crazy. That is not considered a treatable stage by standard rules. Come on. They don't operate on cases of tumor the size of a quarter because it's too big to operate on. First has to be shrunk with chemo. That's what happened to Elizabeth Edwards that had 6 months of chemo because the tumor was too big to remove at that stage. It had to be first shrunk and then could be removed. So how something that is so big that is broken through the skin, is pushed through the skin, be treatable? It is not. He could not have been that stupid to think that he was treatable. And knew it was, and then it was not working, the alternative treatments they were following. So they brought it to me, and I treated it, and it was dead. I showed that tumor, but they all are warned that during the healing process, dead tissue expands. It flattens out, but it expands because a growing tumor coming out of the skin is protruding like a mound. Now, when it's dead, yes, it spreads, and it looks bigger, but it's flattened out because it's dead. It has no body to it. It's just spreading decomposition makes the tissue swells up and spread before the cell liquefy and then fully decompose. So it could not have been that much of an ignorant idiot not to know that. It cannot be. So he was lying, bearing false witness to...
Well, Dr. Carpenter, as I remember, Bob Perscolo, or whatever the hell his name.
Yeah.
He said I did not exist. Barbara Hartwell does not.
Yeah.
She's not a real person. No, she's she's Wendy, or she's a friend of the family. And that's the same thing that Michelle Wolven said. I don't exist. I'm a ghost.
No, you're not a ghost. You're just a figment of our imagination.
Yes.
Yeah, and the writing on your website, on your blog site, those we did, not you.
Yes.
We posted those.
700 plus articles
Started years ago.
Posted since 2006 and preceded by another website since 2000. No, those don't exist. They're not real.
No, they don't exist. They're not real. If they should possibly be real, we did it, not you. See?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Idiocy.
How can anybody believe that nonsense and pay any attention to what this creature is saying? I mean, it's just unbelievable. But people, I don't know. I don't understand the logic. The evidence of these people being lying and being phony, it's there. So,
it is, Dr. Carpenter. But let me say this: that the way these people operate, and I'm talking about the people above that are pulling the strings, that are targeting people like you and me in attempt to discredit and neutralize. What they rely on sensationalism. So they put up a huge tabloid, like they've done with me. They put up a huge tabloid video with a big photo of me, and it says, CIA agent Barbara Hartwell targets our family. And this is a person that I don't even know that has done this. I'm accused of working with the FBI, with John McCain, whom I've never met, by the way, and these FBI agents whom I've also never met. And I was accused of being part of a racial profiling attack for this guy. Well, guess what? You go to my website, you will see how I am against any kind of bigotry. Everybody knows it who knows me. I don't engage in bigotry. I don't racially, I would never be involved with anybody that would racial profile and bigotry. And yet this is what I'm accused of, a total and complete lie. Just like with you, they are based on lies and fabrications because the intent is to destroy you.
Yeah, and add, Randy can add another one. He found this post on the page of a radio show we were guest of, right?
And I know what you're talking about. I should have re-listened to the whole thing to find the exact context of where it came from. Yep, but
what I said, yeah.
Right, and it was a show with Julie Mitchell, writer, and John Connor and Ron Stevens, the Canada Live show from a few months ago, and apparently something was said during the show that was construed as homophobic. Oh, Lord.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember what it is that I said. It might have been my comment on the marriage issue, you know.
Gay marriage, right.
Yeah, and I'm just, why anybody wanna insist on having recognized as marriage. Marriage institution is dead anyway, even for the people that have the right to do it. So, I mean, come on.
So they exploited a comment that someone made, which they immediately tried to drive into the politically incorrect category. Yeah. Like truth is the new hate speech.
Yeah, being gay is a political stepping stone, but smoking a joint will land you in prison. I mean, what sense does that?
And using food coloring will land you in prison. Because it's a drug. Okay?
Depends on how you use it.
And you're not authorized to use it the way you do, so therefore it's a drug. Oh, really? Oh, God. Water? Saline is a drug. Okay. I mean, but about homophobic, phobia is fear of.
That's right.
No, this is not a fear. My only comment was, please don't draw in the discussion because I'm going to throw up. I'm going to need one of those bags. So that is not phobia. It's my stomach that is fighting back, okay? And my feeling on the subject.
And you're entitled to your whatever feelings you may have. You're not attacking anyone. You're just expressing an opinion.
And not to mention that is in the book of every religion. that is a wrong. It's not. They're worrying about marriage. Is it accepted by any religion? No. Okay? So, phobia, not fear. Disgust and throwing up are not fear. Are just a feeling. Are just a feeling.
I'm hoping after the top of the hour break that we'll be able to get into this review. The review of the year of all the things that have all the terrible.
Ooh, we need about a 4 or 5 hour show, though.
Well,
speaking of the top of the hour, we're almost
that's
there.
Where we're at. Yeah, but we're going to skim over of all the horrible events of 2012, hoping that this will change.
And there it is.
Okay. So after the break, and the news will be back and
Don't touch
try
that mouse.
To
the medical
go over what
conspiracy
happened.
will return in just a moment.
I think the end tried to go over what happened and was cut off.
No, we're still on. We're still on.
Oh, okay.
And now.
Okay. Okay, we're back here again for the second hour, and as we promised, we were gonna do a review of the past year, 2012 review.
Well, I hope you have some good notes.
But, well, some things are so stuck on my mind that it's very hard to forget, even if you want to. But instead of doing it the normal way, which is going chronologically from the beginning of the year, we're going to do it on rewind. So we are starting from the latest, the events closing 2012, and go backward. I think the effect is, if not the same, although better. But the reason why we want to do that is we want to show how the closing of the year was still confirmation of the horrible behavior of our government, the horrible behavior of different organizations controlled by special interest, and how this has been running rampant for the whole year, abusing people's rights and controlling and creating a dictatorship, mostly medicine, but in other fields too. But this one happened December 21st. Is Barbara back?
I'm right here, Doctor.
Okay. Okay, so there are actually two things that happened on the same day, December 21st. But we're going to talk this one first, which is, they're both directly involved in medicine. But the first one is, and Barbara also read the article, it's about a hospital in Indiana. Indiana Health Goshen Hospital. Okay. The hospital implemented a ruling that every employee had to be vaccinated against the flu. Flu vaccine was mandatory. Now, that's an obvious violation of people's rights. And apparently, although they were able to convince 95% of their 26,000 employees, 5% refused. 5% of 26,000 employees means a very considerable number. 1,300 people refused. They did not get the flu shot. Okay? Of those, 8 were fired. The next day, refusing, that was December 21st, for refusing to receive a vaccination, a flu vaccine. 3 of which were nurses. Nurses, and one was a senior. They were all senior nurses, but I think the most, one that has most years on the job was a nurse with close to 22 years. She wasn't quite there. just a few days short of the 22 years. And she was fired, just like that, for refusing to agree to receive the vaccine, which she said she had done that regularly for 21 years. Always refused. Now it became mandatory. Supposedly she had to have it. And she said, it is my body. I should be free to decide what to do. And I do not wish to be vaccinated. Okay? Well, they fired and they said that the hospital main concern was the safety of the patients, which is rather odd because over the years of all the patients I dealt with and the patients that came to see me, I have heard all sorts of violation of interest of the patient, including forcing them medication they don't want, giving them too many blood transfusion to the point that drawing too much blood for testing, and which ended up making them need blood transfusion, a lack of hygiene and not properly cleaning the room. It's just unbelievable, the dirt and then the sometimes put patient in an area where they were doing remodeling and then pieces of ceiling falling on the patient. I mean, unbelievable.
Damn.
Yeah. And there were patients that they were going for serious surgery too. So, I mean, unbelievable. But then all of a sudden, well...
a piece of ceiling fall off in the opening when they're having,
No,
kind
it was on...
of like that Junior Mintz episode of Seinfeld.
No, it was in recovery, but still, come on. That's awful.
Man.
Anyway, and so the patient safety, how does the patient safety come into play when we're talking about vaccination, flu vaccination of the employees? Okay? The vaccination, minus, of course, all the additives that destroy your health, are meant to create a pattern for your immune system. So when the virus is entering, or the bacteria, whichever it might be, enter your body, the immune system recognizes it immediately as enemy and attacks it. And has the mean to attack it. If it's a new enemy, they might not be able to. Unknown enemy, they might not be able to deal with it. But once they have the vaccination, you're creating the pattern. So the immune system will recognize it. How is that affecting anybody else? It's only affecting the person receiving the vaccine. Okay? You're not protecting the health of the patient. The patient or the people you get in contact with are not protected. Actually, they are in more danger than they would be otherwise, unless they're also vaccinated. Because the person is vaccinated means his or her body is built with a defense system, so when attacked, it will be able to successfully fight back without fever or any other major reaction. Well, guess what? That does not mean that the person is not a carrier. They still carry the bacteria or the virus, the germ. They still carry it. So they still are a potential threat to whomever gets close to them. It doesn't matter who, patient or normal person. If they're not equally vaccinated, they are in greater danger than they would otherwise be because the person is a carrier. So the vaccine made mandatory for all the employees is making sure that they don't get sick and don't miss work. That's all it means. They're making sure that they sell 26,000 vials of vaccine, satisfying the drug company that is selling the vaccine. That's all it is. It's money.
And making big bucks for the big pharma.
Absolutely. Money for themselves, so they have all their personnel in working condition all ready to go and to be abused and overworked. And then making money from kickback by the drug company. That's all it is. It's not the patient. It's not consideration of the patient at all. Not at all. And they're spreading these lies. And then this jerk, okay, this is a doctor that is the chairman of the prevention medicine at the Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville, the famous Vanderbilt, okay? And his statement was that the patients are especially vulnerable because to the flu and the flu, the complication coming from the flu because of the fact that they're patient in the hospital. No, the point is that our hospital is so insanitary, it's so they pump him with the, I don't know if they give him vaccine, but they pump him with the antibiotic to make sure that they can counter any possible exposure to contamination that is present in the hospital because the hospital are not properly cleaned. And instead it's saying, oh, the people that are opposing, the CDO says that the people that are opposing the vaccine is because they have fear of needles. Oh, yeah, sure. A senior nurse has fear of needle phobia. Or because, oh, this is what takes the prize, okay? Or because they want time off, excuse for time off. Oh, yeah, you're really going to enjoy your time off if you're sick with the flu. But the point is you're more than likely not going to get the flu.
And Dr. Carpenter, here's the issue that concerns me. If there were 1,300 people who refused the vaccine and only 8 were fired, I hear something in the background.
Yeah, I think
we're about to hit a break.
Let's talk about it on the other end, okay? Why only 8 people fired?
Right.
Yeah.
Grab a doctor, have a seat. We can fill out these forms. I'll be with you in a moment.
Funny how nobody's ever heard of that song, and oh, except us.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so.
Hey, but before we get going, I want to say a special howdy to my buddy Vince Easley. He's out there in the chat room, and I wasn't aware of this, but in the last few days, he's brought a lot of traffic to your Facebook page. You know, it took us, 4 years to get up to 300 likes? Well, we hit 300 likes about, a week, somewhere between a week and a week and a half ago, and we're up to 344 now.
Wow. Thanks,
Vince. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. He has a page called Matters of Broadcasting, and where he kind of he picks up different radio shows, different small market radio shows like ours. You can't call it a market. This is public radio. Nah, it's not public radio. What do you call it? I don't know. Anyway, but I do appreciate it, and he's helping bring some awareness out there.
That's good, and. I need to talk of something. One person that signed the petition, the things that she said that we didn't get around last week. We should have, but we'll try to do it this week. But what I wanted to say was about this guy, Dr. Schaffner, is the chair of Vanderbilt University Medical Center, that said this stupid reason why people are refusing. Now, this nurse presented religious excuse and a medical excuse for not having a vaccine, but she was labeled with being afraid of needles, I guess, and be wanting time off. And the ridiculous thing, being sick. The ridiculous thing about this case is that this woman, in 22 years of service, just a few days shy of 22 years, she only called in 4 or 5 times. This is somebody in 22 years. This is somebody that really wants time out of work, right? Finding excuses to be out of work. So, and the explanation given by this guy are total disgusting lies and totally unexcusable. So we're going to give him the mini award, which we haven't given in a long time, but I think he needs our mini award. So...
What's it called, Dr. Carpenter?
The
Shut Up Your Face Mini Award.
The mini award.
Oh, mini award.
What's the matter, you? Hey, got no respect. Hey, what do you think you do? Hey, why you look so sad? Hey, it's It's a not so bad. It's a nicer place. Shut up in your face. Okay, one time for mama, everybody. What's the matter, you? Hey, got no respect. Hey, what do you think you do? Hey, why you look so sad? Hey, it's a not so bad. Hey, it's a nicer place. Shut up in your face.
Okay, that's our feeling.
Turn everything red, white, and green for a little while there.
Yeah, well, it's southern red, white, and green. But it's still funny. And it was really popular when I lived in New York. And I think it's appropriate to this case. The garbage that doctors will tell you with a straight face makes me run for the special bag, okay? Absolutely.
The air sickness bag.
Yeah, I mean, enough, please. You know, it just... And this happens in everything, just when they tell you that this treatment is great for you. Everything they push for money, everything is actually a lie. And that was my awakening, and really something that was hard to accept is how competent these doctors are in lying with a straight face. Malarkey. No malarkey is lying with a straight face. Malarkey, what they say to the public, okay? They say anything to convince you and entrap.
This nurse was almost 22 years of service. She obviously enjoyed her job, and I read the article, and she was a vocal person. One of the 8 out of 1,300 fired for refusing to take a vaccination, for standing up for her God-given right to control her own body.
And why only 8 out of the 13 is not on principle of refusing a mandatory vaccination? It cannot be. Had to be some other reason, and that's the only one that comes to mind. Talking about it and maybe talking some patient out of having their vaccination.
And telling the truth, standing up for the truth, and not backing down.
Okay, that reminds me of something that a patient told me, 7 years ago. 6 or 7 years ago. When she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she was still confused and deciding what to do, which direction to go and what to take. She trusted this doctor, and she asked him, okay, would you choose chemo and radiation? And basically what the doctor said, he could not tell her. He could not tell her. He was not allowed by the hospital to discuss that. What his personal choice or preference was.
So it was a policy statement issued by the hospital that the doctor could not reveal his personal opinions about chemo or radiation.
Yeah, he only had to go what the hospital was supporting.
That's my policy.
Yeah, and so she tried to get around that, and she said, you don't have to talk, okay? You don't have to tell me anything. Would you do chemo? Just give me a sign. And he shook his head. Okay?
Well, I picked up an article about, 2-3 days ago on worldtruth.tv talking about 75% of the physicians of the world refuse chemotherapy for themselves.
It's a lot more than 75.
That's what I was thinking. It should be a little more than 75.
It is. Yeah. They don't do that. Okay? They do something else. It might or might not be successful, but at least they try something different. But the hospitals...
What does that tell you about the state of affairs in institutions such as hospitals, where the very people that are administering these deadly treatments, they themselves would not have that treatment? What does that...
they wouldn't. Well, we discussed that before. There was a doctor at the Children's Hospital in Little Rock. It was the head of the children division. It was the Children's Hospital, and he killed himself when he was diagnosed with cancer. Now, they changed that over the years to cover it up, but that's exactly what happened. It was the head oncologist.
Yeah, you can still find the article, but the article says that he was I forget, something other than an oncologist. He was a
no, it wasn't a technician. They said a medical tech.
Whatever it was. When I finally found the article, he was no longer an oncologist. He was something else.
I remember when they announced it when it happened.
And the part about him being diagnosed with cancer was gone too. That was they given another excuse, like he had personal problems or something.
Oh, well, that's a personal problem, having cancer, especially the way he's handled today. And before we continue with the year in review, no, actually, this is part of the year in review. I'm sorry.
It's been a long year.
Yeah, no, but this is still December 21st. Well, this nurse was fired for standing up for her rights and talking about her opinion, obviously, of her opinion of vaccination. On December 31st, 21st, oops. Yep, we have another. We'll do that after the break.
And we heard it too.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? Wow. Maybe this will become a pattern.
It's so hard to keep the smile from my face. Losing control, yeah, I'm all over the place.
Free speech guaranteed. You're listening to the Orion Talk Radio Network.
You're listening to The Medical Conspiracy with
No,
Dr.
it's out of that.
Thought it was.
Yeah, it's south of the Niagara, Buffalo's Niagara. Okay, we are back. I can hear the music.
Trust me, I can help you. You can trust me.
Yeah, right. I guess if you repeat it long enough, people might believe it. I don't know.
I will never trust a doctor.
No, they are not.
I'm not a medical doctor. I do not trust a medical doctor. I certainly do not trust a psychiatrist. And I certainly try to keep myself out of any hospital for any reason as much as I can.
And another thing, talking about psychiatrists,
Well, if they push the issue, every one of us, 99.9% of us walking around alive today, would fit into one of their pigeonholes as far as medicatable psychological illness of some
especially
kind.
with the new DSM-5.
Well, that's right.
Which they try to defend, but it isn't. Everybody would be a nutcase on that one.
Exactly, because you know what they've done, Dr. Carpenter? This happened in the Soviet Union a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's called abusive or punitive psychiatry for dissidents. People that don't agree with the government. Okay, I have an article on my website. That's Barbara Hartwell versus CIA.
We will take you to be re-educated.
Yes. In other words, if you are somebody who's deemed to be a dissident, oh my God, no, we can't have that. So they issue punitive psychiatry to diagnose you and deem you, oh, you're a nutcase, okay? If you stand up for your rights, you're a nutcase. You refuse a vaccination, you're a nutcase. You want
to be institutionalized. But you know what?
Yes.
But do you know what? Right now, in the U.S., you can't be institutionalized anymore. That's why they use drugs, so they keep you prisoner at home.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so what happened in the year in review, December 21st, this new law was passed by Congress. And it is called, please don't laugh, because the very name of this makes you laugh, okay? It's called the Recalcitrant Cancer Research Act. Recalcitrant Cancer Research Act.
Recalcitrant cancer, like you're a recalcitrant child that doesn't obey?
Well, yeah, when applied to diseases means that there is resisting and is not responding to treatment.
I have to laugh. Sorry.
And I told you, it's ridiculous. And it was passed by Congress, a piggyback with the National Defense Authorization Act. What is the connection between the two? None whatsoever. But they were passed that too.
They issue a rider. They sneak it in.
Yeah.
They put a rider on another bill. Nobody notices, and then it goes through, and then disaster strikes.
And in the evening of January 2nd, Obama signed it into law. So it already messed up this year.
The usurper, Sotaro, signed it into law. He's not the president. I will never call
Sure
him.
it is. If a clown was president, clown was president,
Reagan.
then Reagan, Alzheimer Reagan,
You know, if you don't waltz around that president. He's not a president. He's a usurper.
Well, so was Bushy clown. And so was Alzheimer Reagan. So, I mean, come on. Anyway, but it was signed into law. And what does this, you need to hear this because it's the most ridiculous, this Recalcitrant Cancer Research Act states that it requires that NCH, National Cancer Institute, establish, get this, scientific frameworks for pancreatic cancer and other deadly cancers. Okay, establish scientific frameworks. Huh? What does that mean? See?
What does it mean? What is
Nothing. It's obscure. See, that's the whole point. It's obscure because it said it is the frameworks will help identify scientific advancements, evaluate. This is funny. The sufficiency of researchers and outline a plan for ongoing research. Ongoing research. There you go.
Ongoing research. But meanwhile, what about the death panels?
Yeah,
They're not going to let somebody live because you're no good. You're useless. You're a useless eater. We got to get.
And that's what research does. Because it kills more people during the time they're doing research. And then, oops, we thought it was working. It's not working. Oh, poo. You know, I'm sorry. We tried again. Back to the drawing board. Yeah. And pancreatic cancer does not have an early detection method. See, we cannot catch you early and make you believe that you have cancer when you really do not. So we have to establish that. And pancreatic cancer also does not have an effective treatment option. And this law means a lot to the pancreatic cancer community. Yeah, right. Because right now, get this. Okay, this article states that only in the 5 years of study, only 6% of patients survive. Now, wait a minute, okay? And they claim that's the lowest percentage. No, because from reports that have been presented on different occasions, pancreatic cancer has no survival, and they don't even get to 5 years. But breast cancer, that they call a successful treatment, they only have 3% survival after 5 years. They are lying about it and saying they have a lot more, but the reality is that is 3%, has been reported on many occasions. Okay? They don't have anything on anything. But pancreatic cancer is escaping early detection, and they need to find a way. That's what really this bill is about. Find a way to trick people into early detection, even for pancreatic cancer. That's all it is. But my comment is on this whole thing is recalcitrant cancer research, meaning cancer that are not responding to treatment. Okay? The cancer is guilty because it's not responding to treatment. Excuse me? If they're not responding to treatment, that means that the treatment is wrong.
The fault is in the treatment.
It's not a treatment because it's not doing anything. That's how it should be. If something doesn't work, it's not a treatment. It's not an appropriate treatment. But of course, a treatment that works, it's illegal. Cannot be done. Because we won't let it happen. We cannot stop the fear of cancer in the public. So, Les Medin had to go away. Go away. We cannot allow. I mean, all that we needed for a pancreatic cancer was a surgeon to access the location, and that would have been the end of pancreatic cancer forever. But no, can't allow that. So,
and any other types of cancer.
And any other type of cancer, but a lot of those don't even require a surgeon, so we were doing it. And we have to stop that. We have to steal everything you got because you cannot.
Well, Dr. Carpenter, one of the most dreadful, tragic events of this year, in my opinion, was the FDA raid. Okay? The FDA raid on your clinic.
That happened in July.
In July, which effectively shut down your option, your earning, your being able to earn a living, and also stopped many people.
But mostly stopped people from dying.
Exactly. People that needed the treatment, people that could have benefited and survived from cancer. These bastards from the government decided that, no, we can't have this. We can't have this happening. We won't allow this to happen.
And it doesn't matter that they used illegal methods to accomplish what they wanted. They still were able to do it.
No, because they're outlaws.
After our raid.
Yeah, lawless country with lawless individuals who claim to be enforcing the law and protecting freedom. No, it's the opposite.
And in fact, after the raid to us, in August, they forced the Gibson guitar to plead guilty of something they were not guilty of. They did not buy wood illegally to manufacture their guitar, but they were forced under the threat of otherwise being arrested, even though they had written proof that didn't do anything wrong. They bought legally the wood. See, this was after. And then after that, they raided the compounding pharmacies.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle.
Okay. We also had, before the break, didn't hear the music, so I don't know what was lost in what I said. So we're going to quickly recap. We were doing the year events in Rewind, but we jumped back to July, and instead of doing it in the right order. But what happened, I believe, in October, there was the raid of the natural peanut butter manufacturer in Arizona, and then they closed them down. And then before that, there was the closing down, I think it was September, end of September, early October, it was closing down the Massachusetts compounding pharmacy and another pharmacy connected with them, and a third pharmacy totally disconnected. They were all closed down with stupid excuses. And, of course, in August, the Gibson guitar that had been raided by Homeland Security in 2011 lost their court case. They had to admit to wrongdoing, which they didn't. But otherwise, they were threatened with being arrested and with imprisonment. And so they had to admit to buying illegally the wood, even though they had proven that they didn't. And before that, of course, was the thing that affected us mostly was this, on July 11, we were raided by FDA on the false pretenses our office was invaded and everything was taken. And
Jeremy Bain.
Yeah.
Bain Capital.
And I hope his karma takes care of him.
Yeah.
So he had no morals and was following what was told to do, even though he knew all of it was based on lies. He knew that. He was just desperately hoping to find something that they keep pinning me and the company, which they didn't. But
didn't. But meanwhile,
the whole world is a pyramid now. You know, everybody, no matter where you are, if you're working, you're compartmentalized somewhere, and you have superiors, and they have superiors. It's a pyramid.
Even if you have a corporation, you still have people that can close you down at any time, if they please. It's some interest.
But the thing is, even though they had no legal basis,
they had nothing at all.
Legal basis.
That's why they call it investigation.
Exactly, and aside from no legal basis and nothing they could pin on you, no crime they could pin on you, they still managed to destroy your practice, steal your laser,
steal everything.
Side
note, steal your money so that you lost your home.
Side note to what I just said, if you're not a part of that pyramid, then you have to be done away with.
Right. And that's the thing of our situation. Stealing everything. Basically put me out of society. Out of being able to do anything and being able to live.
Just ostracized and neutralized.
Yeah, and I was left with a vehicle that had to be terminated too.
Exactly. Isolation, alienation, deprivation. Now you're scraping to stay alive, scraping to survive, just the way I am, because they can't allow a person like you to exist because you're a threat to their program of world total domination and control.
And if that is not abominable enough, the horror of what they did comes to the fact that they are depriving people of a solution, a real solution, something that will stop them from suffering.
The only solution that I've ever learned of, Dr. Carpenter, I've done a tremendous amount of research, it's the only real solution where it just kills the tumor and that's the end of it. There is no other solution that I have ever heard of.
No, there isn't. And that's why they went all out in force to stop it, because that could, and not only that, done in an extremely simple way with no suffering in just a few days. Think about it. They give him chemo and the radiation for years.
And they die.
And the chemo they give him to keep away. Oh, yeah, they all die. And most of them don't even make the 5 years. And that's even doctors that are admitted to some patients. But listen, they give all this medication to keep away the cancer. They get them early detection. They butcher them. They poison them, burn them with radiation. In most cases, they are not even needed. And then they tell them, well, you got to keep the cancer away from it. Well, the medication that they give you, what they do to you, well, the first devastating thing in a woman's life is they make you gain weight like crazy. Don't believe me? Okay. Look, and this happens, started years ago. Brigitte Bardot, she is a beach whale now. The woman is a mess. She used to be a gorgeous-looking woman, and they messed up her body. She's an absolute mess. And it's not only her. Anybody that is on Herceptin or similar drugs, they gain weight like crazy. If you have seen, this year we decided to watch as many season and as many holiday movies that we could. And there is a holiday movie, although it's not Christmas, it's a Thanksgiving movie preparing for Christmas. And the mother is played by Shelley Long. Only that you can't figure out who the heck that woman is, except for the voice. You recognize the voice that is Shelley Long, who had breast cancer years ago, and you know she's been on tamoxifen or similar drug forever. And she used to be so slim. It's not old age what has happened to her. She is a mess. She is not recognizable, except for the voice that they could not, in that case, alter. That's a crime.
It's terrible. And then you consider that this, again, bringing up this Remo Labo, okay, who's selling snake oil.
Oh, yeah.
Oil, thinking, oh, you can take this snake oil and, that'll help.
It's liquid.
Chemo. With this liquid, it'll help with the chemo.
It will help with the chemo. It will not kill the cancer. It will help with the chemo.
No. and this is what's out there. It's a horrible web of deception of everything.
It's just unbelievable. And why, going on the year in review, why the raid happened in July? Because between May and June, we put out videos showing hard evidence that the trolls that were attacking us on the web were lying.
Exactly.
At that point, I said, hey, they slander me so much. I'm going to show the records because I am an alternative practitioner. They do not will have to follow alternative practitioner. They don't have to follow the HIPAA rules. So I can show the records. And I did in videos showing how they were all lying in the lawsuit, in everything.
You presented a case based on facts.
Absolutely.
KATV in Little Rock, KTHV in Little Rock, KOTV in Tulsa. What else? Fox 23 in Tulsa.
Yeah. They were all lying. Yeah.
They were all part of the system. They were all supporting the system.
Dr. Carpenter, you and I talked about this earlier today in a private telephone call. Okay? These people, all the news media, okay, the medical mafia, the big pharma, all of them, the government, they have the resources because they have money. They've got so-called manpower, though I wouldn't call them men, okay, but
coward power.
Everything that we don't have. We don't have
Rockefeller Foundation, Rockefeller Research in Little Rock.
Yeah, we have the truth, okay? And that's what we have.
I also have evidence which they were trying to contact them and convince them to go for standard treatment, but I have evidence of results. They are trying to kill those people off so there wouldn't be any evidence left.
Exactly, but that's what they always do. You see, they clean up. They're the cleanup men. They clean up, the crime scene so that all the loose ends, all the witnesses have to go. That's how they do things. And it goes right across the board.
Yeah, but in this case, they're not covering up the crime. They are the crime. They're covering up the truth.
Well, exactly. That's the point, is that they have to destroy witnesses. That's why so many people die. They need to destroy the witnesses, the people that are telling the truth.
And you have to realize that when there is cancer involved, it's very easy to kill them off because then you blame the recalcitrant cancer.
And you're talking about the biggest money racket in the world, too.
Yeah. I mean, everybody is making so much money. Even the alternative practitioner, they really have nothing. Some of them might extend the time, but actually most of them precipitate the cancer. They make it come out of the skin, which makes it grow like crazy. So, when they get into the black salve, there is only one way for that. There is nothing else. So they don't really have much of anything, but they're making a lot of money out of it. And they also are the ones that don't want to lose their money-making operation. That's why they helped FDA slander and attack me. They did. And that happened early in 2012 when this alternative practitioner was actually an informant. They're giving detail on what we were doing, how we were doing, where they could find the laser, which she couldn't figure out, but
And there's the music.
Okay, so we're done again today, and it was a great show. So Happy New Year again, and we'll continue on next Saturday.
Thanks, Barbara.
Thanks for having me. I always enjoy this show.
It's great. It's great.